Okay.
women, because we are emotional people, we want to talk about it. We want to tell somebody something.
Welcome to another episode of the Woman Up Nation. I am your host, Alisha Payne, here to elevate, educate, and empower women to walk in their purpose, to live in their passion, and to operate in their power. I have with me today a guest who's doing all three and then some. I mean, her mission is so powerful, and I'm so excited to have her as my guest today. Our guest today, the simply Camille, but lovely Camille and beautiful and talented Camille Burgin. How are
Thank-
you today,
I
Camille?
am well, and thank you for having me on the Woman Up Nation. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I'm telling you, when I was looking at your bio, I'm looking and I'm like, how does this lady get everything done? I mean, on top of being a wife and the mother of two adult children, you're
Mhm.
also an entrepreneur, an author, a healer, a founder of Simply Camille. You're definitely a visionary. You started this self and soul care movement, and
Yeah.
I want that to fall on deaf ears. And I know there's other things, but those are the few little things that we'll talk
Mhm.
about. I'll be talking about today. And I just want to dive in because I think sometimes the most important things, when we're talking to people, is that we miss like their growing up years. We
Mm.
we see the entrepreneur, we see the wife, we see the healer. But tell me about your growing up years. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Hamilton, Ohio, which is a smaller town in Ohio, kind of between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Okay.
So pretty much all of my through all the way through high school that's where we lived, and it's where we grew up.
Born and
So
bred in Hamilton, Ohio,
born and bred.
right outside Cincinnati. All right.
Indeed. Yes.
Indeed. Okay. Now, were you adventurous child? When I see all these accolades and all these titles, it always make me think like, what kind of child were you? Were you adventurous? Were you extroverted, introverted? What kind of child were you?
Extroverted, super extroverted. One of my earliest memories is I was probably about 7 years old. We were at the airport. Now, you must know my mother and father were born in the 90s in the South, and they had
Okay.
very particular views of how their girls and how their boys were and the different roles that we had.
Okay.
But I was always talking to somebody, never met a stranger. I remember we were in the airport and I was sitting on the sink talking to this lady. I'm about 7,
Uh-huh.
and she was telling me her life story. And my mom
Wow.
busts in the bathroom, what are you doing? And all of this. But my life has always been that in the line at the grocery store, somebody will start telling me their
Wow.
life story. And at first, I didn't realize that was a gift. I'm just like, why are these people telling me this
Coming
stuff,
to
But it happens so often. I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to embrace it. What do you want me to do with it? I'll embrace it. Just give me the words to say back to these people.
Isn't that powerful? Because I always say, some part of our childhood translate into the purpose that we walk in.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that as a healer, you have to be able to communicate with people and feel empathetic towards
Mm-hmm.
them and want to listen.
Indeed.
Would you say that plays into is that part of your personality, part of your DNA?
It definitely is. And I think even as a child, I guess, because of those different roles with the girls and the boys, like my brother could do things. He's about 3 years older than me. So he could do things that I wasn't allowed to do. He could go out and he could ride
Uh-huh.
his bike to the corner where I could only ride my bike to the alley,
Oh, the double
So,
standards.
oh, it was definitely a double standard. And I just felt like at times that I wasn't seen or I wasn't heard. And I
Okay.
know that wasn't their intention. As I look
Mm,
back now, it's very different than being in it. As I look back, I see that was their divine protection over me, trying
amen.
to prepare me or protect me from things that I shouldn't be doing. And not just the bike, but
Hmm.
he could go out and do all kinds of things, but they really had a hedge around the girls.
Absolutely.
And because of that, I kind of had a quiet resentment brewing because I'm like, well, why can he
Oh,
do things that I can't do? And then, so, that began to make me think like, I can do I can do things. I am capable of doing things, but it
Mhm.
also gave me a heart for the underdog because they don't
Wow.
feel
That's your
heard
story.
sometimes. And so I believe that that came from there. Although my
Yeah.
parents, we had a great relationship. My mom,
Mhm.
I learned all the cooking, homemaking because she was a homemaker.
Mhm.
And my dad, we would go in the garage and he would give me scrap wood. And so I would be able to work things and we built car engines together. So I
Wow.
had great relationships with my parents. It's just when you're in it, you
Mhm.
only see how it affects you at the time.
I just wonder how that translated to you. I mean, did you ever see yourself becoming your mom with your now adult children? Did you ever say, "I sound just like my mom. I did just like my
I,
mother."
I did. I did.
Uh-huh.
And I do. And I have
Uh-huh.
to remember, I think I take a little bit of that and a little bit of me and kind of mesh that into the best parent that I can be.
Amen.
Because even though they did the best they could with what they had and where they came from and,
Mhm.
their faith, because my dad lived out his faith. So I saw that in him. So when I was praying about a husband, I'm like, I want somebody who's going to live out their faith in a way
Right.
that I saw my dad do it. Not the same, but it
Right.
was so evident in him. And my
Mhm.
mom, who had a very quiet faith, but she lived out hers too. So it was something that I always saw. So I tried to instill in my children,
Mhm.
some of that because that faith was passed down to us. But you have to know it for
For
yourself,
your right.
and learning and seeing them, and then now seeing how faith works in my life. I can see a direct impact from what they did and how they lived. So, yes, with my children, I did that with my daughter and my son. I tried to be
Right.
more fair because I know how that affected me. But yes, they didn't spend the night at anybody's house. I was never
Uh-huh.
allowed to do
Old
that.
school. Yeah.
Right. If they went to somebody's
Uh-huh.
house, I need to know if the mom is who's gonna be there,
Right.
So that was something that my mom did.
That was good old-fashioned homeschooling, home training, I should say,
Home
and just
training.
good old-fashioned home training.
Definitely.
Do you
And it
we
worked.
kinda miss that, in
Mhm.
today's generation, and also, I know this has nothing to do with your book and all your beautiful products,
That's
but
okay.
we kinda it's kinda like a lost art to me,
Mhm.
in this new generation. But, thank you for
Mhm.
sharing, that growing up experience, because I always say it translate into our purpose somehow. So
Mhm.
I've always been interested in people's backstories.
Mhm.
Now, but your mission is to help women navigate life in the in between moments, quote
Mhm.
unquote, in between moments, and whatever they're facing. You're there to offer support. Tell me about that. Like, what are some of the things that you do to help women in the in between
In
moments?
between. And what the in between, I call it in the gray. So it's when things
Okay.
aren't black and white and you're waiting on an answer. So sometimes we'll pray for things, we'll hope for things. And from the
Yeah.
time that you pray and hope for that to the time that it actually happens, that's
Mm-hmm.
the in between. There is
Right.
it's preparation time. It's not wasted
Mm-hmm.
time. And your heart posture needs to be right because this
Mm-hmm.
situation may not end up the way that we want it to, but
Right.
during that time we can change and we can be better. So we look at different things like forgiveness. Are you forgiving yourself? You may be
Mm.
praying for a relationship, yet you have all of this baggage from the last relationship. And
Oh,
you're
that's
saying,
powerful.
all this thing, I keep dating the same type of guy, I keep being in the same type of situations. Well, there's something that we didn't learn that first time or second time.
You saying a
So
word. Wow.
so we really try and go back and break those things down. Like, what is it that you can do? You can't focus on what they did. You have to focus on what you do because ultimately we're held accountable for what we do, not
Absolutely.
for what somebody else does to us back. What is our reaction? How are
What
we
is our
acting? How is
reaction?
our heart posture? What are we looking at within that situation to change our behavior? It may be something that
Wow.
we did. It may be something that we're putting out there. So
Mhm.
how can you look at that situation and say, okay, this is how it ended, which is maybe not what I wanted, but what could I have done differently?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about abusive relationships. I'm talking about a
Yeah.
healthy retrospective look at yourself to find out
Absolutely.
what that looks like. And so once you break it down like that and focus on you and what was your role to play in it, how can you become better? If the situation doesn't change, you do.
Mhm.
And
Right.
you can become better in the midst of that. And that may be the whole purpose that you're where you are because there's
Mhm.
something about you that needs to change. So
That's
we really try and get ladies to look at ourselves, give ourselves grace for one. We're so hard on ourselves. We all make mistakes, but give
absolutely.
yourself grace as you're working through the process, which is kind of what the workbook, it helps you work through some of those thoughts. We all have negative thoughts.
Yes.
There was a statistic saying that there's so many thoughts that we have per day, the majority of those thoughts are repetitive. And then the majority of
Mm.
those thoughts are negative. So you're saying the same things. And what we
Saying
end
the
up
same
doing,
thing.
the same negative thing, and it ends up being, it's like I think the word is neuroplasticity, where
Mhm.
you're grooving the same pathways in your brain. Those thoughts are making a
Right.
pathway in your brain. So it's easy to get back into those negative thoughts and just keep on going down that negative pathway. But we have to learn how to stop and
So
change
what
direction.
so that you came to a good point, stop and change direction. How do you help people, especially if they're struggling, with some kind of, I know you're a mental health specialist, if they're struggling with something that's considered a mental health issue? What are some of the things that you would tell that individual to help
Hmm.
them? For one, I should say first thing is to see who they really are, good, bad, or
Hmm.
indifferent,
Hmm.
and then to go on a path of healing and hope.
Hmm.
How do you navigate that?
So if I'm a Christian mental health coach, so I help people in
Mm,
that way. If what they need is something beyond my scope, I refer them to a clinical practitioner. They
okay.
may need medicine, they may
Hmm.
need some counseling that's beyond what I could do. And there's no shame in that. If
No,
you
not
need
at all.
medicine, you get medicine. If you need something different than what I can provide, my goal is to help you heal wholly. Soul care, self care, help the whole person heal.
Oh, can you say that again?
I said it's so we add soul care and
Yeah,
self care together to help the person heal wholly. If you only focus on one
yeah,
aspect, you can never heal fully because you're only focused on one side.
right.
A lot of people want to do the self care, they take the baths, they do all this stuff when they're stressed. And you get out, sometimes that stress is still there because you never dealt with the soul aspect of that.
Now, do you see, like with women, being that this is a woman up nation, do you
Hmm.
see different needs that women have versus, a male individual who is coming for coaching, mental health coaching?
Hmm.
Do you see a vast
I don't
need or
necessarily see a vast need. The way that the need is dealt with is the thing that I see the most difference in.
okay.
Women, because we are emotional people, we want to talk about it. We want to
Mhm.
tell somebody something.
Somebody got to hear
So,
this.
right. And whereas the men, it's much harder to get them to talk about it because
Okay.
there's this toxic masculinity. They don't want to be
Mhm.
viewed as weak because they're talking about their feelings. Well,
Yeah.
you're not viewed as weak because you're talking about your feelings. That's
Right.
helping you to heal so you can come back better. So
Mhm.
but that's the thing that I see most. Like the women, we want to talk about it, but they're dealing with the same things, anxiety, you
Oh,
know, you're anticipating something happening before it actually does. So you're pre-stressing. Maybe it's not even going to happen that way, but you've already worked yourself up and the thing hasn't even happened yet.
I was going to ask you, how does it manifest? Like when they come to you as a mental
Mhm.
health coach, how has it manifested? Like, what are they doing? What are the behaviors? What do you see, especially in the female population?
A lot of times they're just stuck. Like, I don't
Mm,
know what to do. I
what
don't
to
know where to
do?
go. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And then once you break it down, people tend to think of balance as everything being level. That's not
Hmm.
balance. That's just even.
That's
So,
because what we've been taught. We hear
right.
that a lot.
And that's
Balance, have
not
to have
balance.
balance.
So it could be like this one day and it could be like this the next day, but that's
Uh huh.
balance. right? So, for example, one of the ladies that I spoke with recently, she's like, I can't get the cooking clean. I can't, my house is a mess. I
Hmm.
can't focus at work, all of these things. I said, okay, well, what does your day to day look like? And
Right.
sometimes we can be so overwhelmed that we don't do anything. Our body just shuts down.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I actually got her into a schedule of cleaning her house. On
Really?
Mondays, you wash your clothes on Mondays. Whatever outfit throughout the week, it doesn't get washed until Monday. On Tuesday, you could be focused on loading the dishwasher, cleaning anything extra,
Okay.
maybe mopping the floor.
Hmm.
So each day you have something to do, but you're not so overwhelmed that you can't get anything done because you have balance. So now that you wash clothes on Monday evening, you may be able to spend more time with the kids. You may be able to have
Wow.
a date night with your husband because you freed up some time because now
Hmm.
you're working on a schedule.
So
So
you
if you
give them measurable goals.
way you can actually see, wow, I did that. You can look back
Right.
and all the clothes are washed.
Sense of
I did
accomplishment.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And then that also helps you to think more positively about how you're handling your household, for example. Because
It's
each day something is
wow.
done. But then once you get into that habit, you have a clean house and you haven't spent 3 days stressing out about the things that you have to do because you're actually getting them done. And ask
You
for help.
that is amazing.
We
Ask for help.
fail to ask for help and to give ourselves
Especially as
grace.
women.
Oh,
Those
definitely.
are especially as women because we feel like we carry the load when it comes to more the domestic and the raising
Mhm.
of the children, and we feel like if we, ask for help, we're not enough. We're not enough. We don't feel like we're doing enough.
And
And so
that
I'm so glad you're addressing this. You're going to
yes.
talk the enough syndrome.
Yeah. Yes, because I think a lot of things boil down to that. And
Mhm.
one of my clients, and I have permission to say, so one of my clients, she talked about that. She never felt like she was enough. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, what is enough? Like, who
Right.
determines what enough is? And are you comparing yourself to somebody else? We
Mm.
talk a lot about social media. People are posting their best days on social media.
Yeah,
They're not posting the days when they're in the bed with the sheets over their head because, they're so
absolutely.
stressed out. So you have
Right.
to watch. And a lot of younger clients, that's what they're doing. They're comparing themselves to people online, people who are airbrushed. So now
Yeah.
you don't think you're beautiful
Yes.
because you don't look like this person, but they have BBLs, they're airbrushed, they're. So even in the workbook, one of the first things we talk about is who do you say you are? And so you
Wow.
list all of the who do you say you are. And a lot of
Right.
that stems from who your parents said you were. Now you've internalized that. Now you think that's who you are, or your
And
friends or whatever. And then we get to who does God say that you are?
yes, and
And
I'm
then
just
we
gonna
look at
put this
those
book up. That's amazing.
life workbook.
Thought Life Workbook, and it's powerful. It gets you to really thinking about focusing on you,
Mm-hmm.
because we focus our time on so many other people, but this workbook like focuses just on me. And it
Mm-hmm.
made me even think, wow, there's some things in my life that I need to change. And so I know that it's going to be a blessing for
Mm-hmm.
the readers who get this. And of course, I'll put the link up, but I wanna now that you, brought it up, I wanna dive into it.
It's really practical. So it's good and I think it breaks down things to where anybody can understand it.
It is, and what I love, this one place, where you say, "Replace your negative thoughts with positive ones." Now,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds just like, anybody would know to do this, but how many times do we not do it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to start, get to writing in this notebook, and you think, "Wow, I've been thinking these negative thoughts all these
Mm-hmm.
times. I thought I was a positive, empowering person, and I'm having all these negative thoughts."
Mhm,
I mean, it's simple, like you said, practical, but so profound. It's
mhm.
so profound, so needed.
Yeah.
I can see this workbook, this Thought Life Workbook, really like for teenagers as well, who's going
Mhm.
through. I can see this in schools. I can see
Mm,
this in churches. I can see you talking
mhm.
about this book on large stages where you're
Yeah.
educating the
Praise
masses
God.
because it's so needed. It's so needed, especially I love what you said about how we compare ourselves. And what they say, what is that phrase? Comparison is the thief of all joy. Something I'm paraphrasing
Mhm.
because we think that we have to be like somebody else. And in your book, you're saying you have to just be yourself.
Yeah,
All
because
you
the
have to
thing
do is
is
be yourself.
right, and you don't know that person. You
Right,
don't know what
right.
they're going through. It's always people say, "Oh, the grass is greener on the other side." I always say, "But you don't know what it's fertilized with."
That's it.
So you can step
They've
in
been
a lot of
watering it.
stuff. You can step in a lot of stuff, and
Yes.
then realize that you're really stepping in it,
We'll
right?
keep it
It may
holy.
look like it.
Manure.
Yes,
Manure.
most
Yeah.
definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's good to, I always say you have to it's hard to look at yourself. It's
Yes.
hard. We like to
It is.
project, we like to point the finger at everybody else, but when you really take time and sit with, okay, God, if there's something in me that you don't like, show me
Sit
and
with
let's work
you.
on it. And
Mm-hmm.
man, he will show you. And you're like, wait,
Won't
wait,
he?
wait, wait, wait. One at a time.
Slow
One at
down.
a time. But he will, but it's so powerful though when you can look back. And in that book, it has like journal pages, there's
Yes.
prompts in there, and then it gives you time to actually work on the things that you've learned. But when you go back and look at it, and you're like, wow, I used to think this way. The goal in that
Mm-hmm.
is to limit the time that you're thinking. We all have negative thoughts. If we
Right.
didn't, the Bible would never even have anything in there to say, take those thoughts captive.
And
So the
captive.
thoughts, you have
Right.
thoughts, they're not all your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
They're thoughts that come in. So we determine what we entertain and what we let go of. But
Amen.
the thing is that you can go down a rabbit hole and think negatively, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. So when something happens, see it happen because I'm not enough, and you go
Right.
down a rabbit hole. 20 minutes later, you realize you've done nothing but beat yourself up.
Beat
So
yourself
with
up.
replacing those thoughts, the goal is to shorten the time that you're thinking those negative thoughts until you can identify them as soon as they come up and put a stop to it. No,
Uh,
he said, I am fearfully and
yeah.
wonderfully made. And
Mm.
so there are some examples of things in there that you can use to replace your thoughts. And then there's places for you to put your own stuff in there.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It's called Thought Life Workbook. It's powerful too because it teaches you who you are about God and what he says about you. It helps you to recognize the lies. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you have the lies that the enemy uses against you,
Mm-hmm.
especially us women. I think there's a special demon who loves to, hang
Torment us.
around women and
Mm-hmm.
torment us when we don't know who we are. And so with this Thought Light
Mm-hmm.
workbook, it definitely helps you see who God designed you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And God designed you to be his daughter, his princess, the apple of his eye. Even in our beautifully broken selves, God wants you
Mm-hmm.
to know you're the daughter of a king.
Yes,
You're
and
the
we are
daughter of a king.
redeemable. We are
Amen.
redeemable,
Say
and
that a third time.
yes, I said we are
Yeah,
redeemable,
yeah, I heard you the first 2 times. I
Well,
just
I
wanted to
just for the people
make
in the
sure
back.
make
Yes,
sure that
because we don't
we
always
are
think that.
redeemable.
We don't always think that. We feel like we disqualify ourselves
Right.
from God's love by the things that we've done, but he is a redeemer of broken things.
Amen. And he'll
So
put
there
those
is
pieces back together like pottery, right?
yes, he
Even
will.
better. Even
Mhm.
better.
And something new. Sometimes that old thing
Amen.
needs to break, so it
Amen.
can be remade again. So that's what he does,
Saying a
and that's
word,
how much he loves us.
I need to pass a plate for you. You preaching over here. But what I love about what you're doing, you're empowering women. What I love is that you're just authentic. And
Yeah.
then yes, you're authentic, and it comes through. In everything you do, and I appreciate you for being that authentic woman because
Thank
it's
you.
hard for people to it's easy for people to see who you really are.
Mm,
Sometimes we want to portray like we're bigger and better than
mm,
anybody else. But no, you're like,
mhm,
I'm using the gifts that God gave me to show
mhm.
people that if God did it for me, He can do it for you.
Absolutely, he
And that's what
can.
I love. You know what else I love about Camille?
What is that?
How intelligent you are to have created the self and
That's
soul
good.
care products
Mhm,
that kind of marry when you say you're taking care of yourself, but you don't take care of your soul, or you're taking
mhm,
care of your soul, but you don't take care of yourself. These
mhm.
products, I probably showing my age if I say this, but it's probably, when they say the bomb.com, whatever they're saying now, that's what I think about these products. I mean, these
Wonderful.
products, can we dive into,
Let's dive.
because
Mhm,
in addition to the Thought Life Workbook,
mhm.
uh,
By me and my daughter, so my daughter helped with that. She did some of the illustrations in the book.
oh, really? How
Mhm.
amazing. There her
Yes,
name, Celeste, she sure did.
she
Amen.
did.
So I
She
want to dive
did.
into y'all products. Can I,
Okay,
these are just amazing.
let's talk
Now,
about it.
this is so funny. The beard balm, I keep this
Mhm.
for my husband love this. I'll keep this. He loves
Wonderful.
beard balm. But here are
Mhm.
my favorites. The tallow face cream.
Mhm,
Some people say that they sell products that's luxurious, and
mhm.
then you get them home and you're like, where's the luxury part of this? I've never had to worry about that with your products. This is the tallow face
Wonderful.
cream. It says luxuriously whipped. And I just want
Mhm.
to, I'm going to put it up to the screen because it feels like what it reminds me of is the first time I got on an airplane,
Mhm.
right? And I said, I wonder how clouds really feel. I wish I could open this airplane window. That's what I mean,
Wow. Mm,
it does make you feel luxurious. It makes you feel beautiful. And the scents
wonderful.
that you have these
Mhm.
creams in is just absolutely amazing. That's one of the things that we have, the tallow face, and it makes your skin look like you've been kissed by the sun.
Well, I
And
like
then
that.
yeah.
Put you on my marketing team.
Oh, yes. Woman up. And then this is, one of my favorites, this cherry almond,
Mhm.
and it's also a whipped shea butter,
Mm.
and your products are natural.
That has
You
a, shea butter beeswax in it, so they're clean products.
clean products.
And
Okay.
I started it because I was going into these name brand stores and trying to
Mm,
find a lotion that I liked, and I flipped it over, and I can't pronounce half of the stuff, and a lot of it was
right.
carcinic.
Carcinogenics. Yeah.
Yes, so I would go into
Cancer
these
causing.
stores. Exactly, I would go into these stores to find lotions that I liked,
Mm,
and they were
yeah.
carcinogenic. So some of the ingredients you couldn't pronounce, and I'm in there trying to Google it. So I wanted to make something that everything on there you can pronounce it, you can go get it, you can
Yeah.
feel it,
You
and
can
that was going to
feel
be
it.
good and nourishing for our bodies because we have to take care of the outside as well as the inside.
It's all the complete package of the temple, right? You take care of
It
your
is.
body, you take care of your mind,
Mind and your
spirit,
soul.
soul. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
It's all. This is going to be one of my favorites. This one is the luxurious hair and scalp oil, which smell
Hmm.
amazing. This is the rosemary, peppermint, and tea tree. It
Hmm.
smells amazing. Then,
Face wash, and then you have the hair and scalp oil.
yes, ma'am.
That's the hair and scalp. Yep. And then the
Okay.
other one is the face wash. Yep.
Okay, face wash. Okay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
That's
It
okay.
feels good to the scalp. It feels
Mhm.
cleansing, and like you said, you can see what the ingredients are, and you're not
Mhm.
fooled by, additives, things, as you
Mhm.
said, you can't pronounce, but it
Right.
smells good, it's natural, it's conditioning,
Mhm.
but what's gonna be my favorite above all favorites,
Okay.
I can't choose because this reminds me of just love, and it's the, lotion
The
bar.
lotion bar.
And why look at that. It's so beautifully crafted, the lotion
It's
bar.
too bright.
You rub it across your skin and it melts
Mhm.
upon the heat in your body. And you're talking about something that feels good and smells good and so pretty. It has a bee design.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's who you are. You're a bee, meaning you work. Let me
Okay.
clarify that.
Clarify that.
This is all holy. We all holy. We called her a beaten. Beautiful.
Okay.
And you're a B because you work your tail off. I
Well,
mean,
thank you.
you are like that woman that leaves nothing on the table. That's who
Mhm.
you remind me of. You,
Oh,
you are um, working in every gift that God has given you, and I'm sure there's some other ones that you're going to be working in soon because I know you're doing a lot of things. But that's what I love about you and your products. Miss Mia's, but this massage candle, we grown.
that's a bestseller.
This massage candle, I said again,
Mhm.
we grown and we married. I'm talking to married people because I don't want to
Okay.
be trying to make nobody fornicate. But
Okay, but
this,
look, if you're single,
come on now.
get in the bathtub, light the candle before you get in the bathtub. Let it melt down, and after you dry off, and it,
Uh,
it gets room temperature. So you can use it on yourself.
yes, and
Hmm
I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm gonna keep it clean. This this
Okay.
this one smells like baby powder, but you have different
Mhm,
smells, the cherry almond. I mean, I know I've
mhm,
gotten other products from you, and what I love is that some products that you purchase in a store, the scent is gone
mm,
and the conditioning of your skin wears off within an hour. But this
mhm,
stays on
mhm,
all day long. And you can
mhm.
smell, and people say, well, what are you wearing? I give them your Simply Camille or Simply
Simply
Camille,
Camille.
LLC. So we have, and then you don't just send it in any kind of box. This came, I thought I was getting married. It was so pretty. I was like, this is like I'm having a wedding or bridal shower. I'm doing something,
Mhm.
anniversary, birthday. It was just so beautifully
Oh,
sent
thank
where
you.
you feel like love. And you can see that you feel your
Nice.
products are made with love. You feel the love that's in
Mhm.
them. And
Thank
so
you.
when we're talking about soul care and self-care,
Mhm,
the holiday is fast upon us. This is something that every woman should treat herself. I wouldn't wait for somebody else to do it.
mhm,
And thank you for the beautiful basket. I mean, I have to get my normal, my regulars, because this is all
mhm,
new. Most of that, the scent is.
mhm,
But what would you tell a person who said, I don't need all that? I don't need the workbook. I mean, people that we're talking about that is a hot mess. So we've all been in that stage, and it took another person to say, hey, here's a way that you can pull yourself out. Or
mhm,
somebody sent me, I know when I was grieving for my mom, somebody sent me a care package.
mhm,
And I thought that was the most incredible thing.
mm,
Like somebody's
hmm,
thinking about me. That's how
uh-huh.
these products make you feel.
Wonderful.
How can people get your products?
So simplycamillellc.com is our website, and you can order all of the products that were shown here, as well as the workbook is on there. We
Hmm.
have another book, You Are the Reason, that's on there, and that's a book that has daily quotes. There it is. That's the Thought Life Workbook. So the products, the workbook, we also have a blog on there, and we're building up the resource side, the soul care side. So yes, you can go there. The workbook is also available on Amazon.
Hmm.
And then we have a new book coming out called In the Gray, When Things Aren't Black and White and You're Waiting on an Answer. And that should be out in
Powerful title.
January.
Powerful
And if
title.
Thank you. And if you go on Camille, simply Camille, LLC.com, you can find all of that information there.
Because
And
if you
that's where you can get it.
Christmas is just a few weeks away, and we make all these New Year resolutions. If you make any resolution, make this workbook and these
Mhm,
products a part of your resolution that you're going to take better care of your soul,
mhm,
that you're going to take better care of your temple, that you are
mhm,
going to take better care of your spirit, that you're not going to go into 2026 the same way you left out of 2025, that you are
mhm,
going to be determined that whatever negative thoughts that you have, you're going to put those negative thoughts into captivity. And how do
mhm,
you do it? Well, you have a workbook. You have this Thought Life Workbook. And I'm not just trying to promote this. I'm not even a promoter. I'm just saying I know what works. As
Mhm.
I'm a life coach. I know what works.
Mhm.
This works. This works. So if you really want to treat yourself to something that is going to change the trajectory of your life,
Mhm.
Thought Life Workbook, or and in addition, I would say, this is me. In addition to that Thought Life Workbook, while I'm working on my soul, I'm gonna work on my temple. I'm gonna
Mhm.
have some things around me that I know that are healthy, that are luxurious, that's
Mhm.
quality, and that I could feel like the daughter of a king, the daughter that I am. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm gonna have
Wonderful.
you speak one last word, Miss Camille. If you could speak to the women or even the men who are listening or looking at
Mhm.
this podcast, anything that's going to elevate them, educate them, empower them to walk in their purpose, to live in their passion, or to operate in power, what would
Mhm.
that word be, or words be, or phrase be?
So one thing I would say is feel the feelings, but don't dwell in them. Make space for you to feel your emotions, your feelings, but don't dwell in them. And give yourself grace in the process. So we
That's
are ever
powerful.
evolving. We're always changing. We will make mistakes. Give yourself grace because the goal is to move forward and to move upward. And so in order to do that, sometimes you stumble, but you'll get there if you just hang on and keep doing the work. Give yourself grace.
Amen. Amen. I'm gonna have to have you back when your new book come out, because you're just, I mean,
Beautiful.
you're powerful woman, and like I said, I love how you operate, and I just I really love your products. I love what you're doing in the world. I love that you're making your mark in this world, Miss Camille Burgin. You have
Thank
been a
you.
delight. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us for this episode of Woman Up Nation, where we elevate, educate, and empower women to walk in their purpose, live in their passion, and operate in their power. Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you for
Camille.
having me.
Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You as well.